Peter Lynch says, behind every stock is a company. So know your company. This video is made to know your company, KYC of a very large food service company in India. It's one of the largest food service company which operates under the category of quick service restaurant, that is QSR. QSR is basically meant for ready-made food which is readily available in the restaurants or the joints. The food service industry actually indicates this restaurant or the network of restaurants which provide food and beverages in their joints, which has this wonderful ambience of music, taste and flavors which the customers can enjoy and kill their hunger. They're quick food first of all, and they are tasty food with lots of flavors intact in those foods, which customer can enjoy, kill their hunger and have a delightful experience by enjoying the great atmosphere, the music and the sound. So we are going to understand three aspects about this specific company. We're going to see first of all which is that company and what was the milestone, what are the different milestones they have achieved over the past few years. We are then going to see what are the different business segments they operate into based on the number of certain set of criteria. It's not directly available, but we can derive the percentage revenue based on specific kind of inferred data. So then finally we are also going to see the valuation. We are going to see key matrices which can going to help us decide whether we can invest into this specific company, yes or no. So before I forget, one of the thing, share and subscribe, share it to your friends and relatives so they can also gain maximum advantage of understanding what is this specific company, what is food service industry all about, and also take a decision based on the valuation matrices. So the first thing, which is this company and what was the milestone, the different milestones which they have achieved over the past few years. So this quick service restaurant network of restaurants or network of food joints, as you want to call it, is one of the largest in India. And that company is none other than Jubilant FoodWorks. Jubilant FoodWorks is the master franchise of Domino Pizza, is a master franchise of Dunkin' Donuts, and then recently it got a master franchise of Popeyes. So we are going to see each of these business segments, what are different number of stores they have managed to establish in India as well as other countries as well, where it has a master franchise. And then we are going to see other aspects of what I have already promised about the valuation and the business segment. So now when it comes to the growth, the milestone, the history, so it started its operations in 1995, Jubilant FoodWorks, and within a year or so, that's in 1996, it has its first Domino Pizza restaurant opened in India in New Delhi. So after it had opened its first restaurant in New Delhi, then after 5 years time, it became the first QSR brand to reach almost about 100 stores in our nation. That is in 2001. Then after that, subsequently, 3 years later, in 2004, it has this unique selling proposition with 30 minutes delivery nahi to free. That means within 30 minutes, either you get a pizza or you get it for free. By using this particular sales technique, they have managed to reach whole set of customers, and consumers were going crazy to buy their pizzas in the hope that they might get it free. Who knows? I was one of them anyway. So 6 years later, 6 years after 2004, in 2010, it launched its IPO, and then it became listed into the National Stock Exchanges of India, that is the BSE as well as the NSE. Then in 2011, the first Domino Pizza store was launched in Sri Lanka. It became the first food service company in India to have its online operations of ordering. You could order your pizza online back in 2011 through your mobile. And then in 2011, it gets a master franchise opportunity for its first Dunkin' Donuts store to be opened in India. By the time, 500 stores of Domino Pizza stores were already opened in India. Then 4 years later, in 2016, it already reached this 1,000 Domino Pizza stores in India. And then subsequently in 2019, its first Domino Pizza store was opened in Bangladesh. In the same year, in 2019, it opens its first indigenous multi-cuisine in the Chinese category, that is the Hong's Kitchen. And then in 2020, it promotes its Chef Boss sauces, which basically meant for dressings of maybe salads or making your favorite dishes. You can have a look onto the internet, Chef Boss, you can search it out and you will see a range of sauces which you can even buy today. And then it established in the same year 2020, it established Ekdam Biryani. Within minutes, you get your nice flavored chicken biryani or mutton biryani or veg biryani, whatever you call it, different flavors under this single brand called Ekdam. And then in 2022, it opens its first Popeyes restaurant. Popeyes restaurant is a Louisiana-based chicken food joint, quick service restaurant joint, which is more similar to KFC, but they have this Cajun flavor in the chicken, which is marinated for almost 12 hours. And that gives it its unique selling proposition, 12 hours marination and wonderful, delightful flavors of chicken to be enjoyed in Popeyes restaurant. So you can enjoy, like KFC, you have the chicken burgers and then have the deep fried chicken legs or different stripes or different kinds of nuggets which are available under the Popeyes brand. So you can enjoy all these flavors, and who brings them to you, to India, is Jubilant FoodWorks. So this is the history of Jubilant FoodWorks, the different milestones that they have achieved over the years since 1996. Since 1996, it took them almost like 25 years to come to almost 1,500 stores of Domino Pizza restaurants or joints in the nation. And now coming up on the screen, you also see the distribution of Domino Pizza stores in Sri Lanka as well as in Bangladesh. So this is the distribution over the past 4 or 5 years with respect to Domino Pizza stores. Now when it comes to the second aspect which you're going to see is the distribution of revenue. The distribution of revenue and the various business segments. As we know from the historical aspect which we have already seen from the different milestones, we already know that apart from Domino Pizza, it has Dunkin' Donuts, it has Hong's Kitchen, which is its own indigenous set of kitchen, and then you have Ekdam Biryani, and then you have Popeyes restaurant, which has recently brought it into our nation in 2022. Now, if you see on the screen, all these other categories of businesses, it has around 56 stores in total until this particular year, that is 2022. Of course, this video is released in 2023. Until 2022, it was 56 stores. Now, if you compare that with respect to Domino Pizza, it is very minuscule. It's almost about like 3 or 4% of the total number of Domino Pizza stores in India. So you can come to a conclusion that out of the total revenue which Jubilant FoodWorks earns, only about 4% of its revenues come from all these other new diversified businesses it has actually acquired its franchisee for. So I'm looking forward to Jubilant FoodWorks to expand the network of Popeyes and then also Dunkin' Donuts, which is looking more promising to Jubilant FoodWorks based on the management statement in their financial statements as well in the financial reports, annual reports. You can find a statement that Popeyes and Dunkin' Donuts look to be more promising, and Hong's Kitchen, its own indigenous kitchen. And then when it comes to Chef Boss and Ekdam Biryani, I have a feeling that they might dilute the stake or they might keep going slow with respect to Ekdam Biryani and Chef Boss. So now that we know the revenue distribution, as you see on the screen, you see the total cash flow. I will only focus on cash flow because cash flow is actually representation of the real profit which the company earns. If you see the net profit for the year 2022, you will see that the net profit is about 480 crores. But when you see the cash profit, it's almost double, 900 plus crores. That's significant, isn't it? It is the operating cash flow which matters most to the business. And over the historical records, as you see on the screen back again, over the past 10 years, you can see the historical cash flow has significantly improved almost by about 5 to 6 times. That's a phenomenal improvement of cash flow. So, what about the valuation? Let us see some of the key matrices which help us decide whether to invest in this specific company, yes or no. Now this matrices as comes on the screen. The first matrix, as you see, is the gross profit margin. When you come to gross profit margin, you see it's almost more than 75% gross profit margin. That means after paying for all the raw materials, this is the amount of profit it actually gets for itself. Now from this profit, obviously it needs to pay for all the physical assets, that is all the spaces which it has acquired for itself to sell the pizzas, the different restaurants, or the different leased premises which it might acquire for selling Popeyes or other further expansion of Domino Pizza restaurant. So it can spend on this aspect because the gross profit margin is so significantly high. The EBIT margin, as you can see, is almost double digit, 25%, 20% plus, and the PAT margin, profit after tax, is okay, manageable, I guess, because when you see the ROC and the ROE, you can have an indication that the profit after tax year on year is just keeping on increasing and is creating shareholder wealth. So based on the shareholder wealth, you can see the ROC and the ROE is so significantly above 15%, except for some of the years where it is 15 or 17%, that is the ROC and the ROE, which is 15 and 17%. Those are specific years wherein we had this particular recession caused due to some unnatural events, that is pandemic and things like that, or it could be raw material price rise, inflation rise, which every company has to face anyway. So after considering all these aspects, it is still managing to get you an ROE and ROC of more than 15%. So in my opinion, it's a fantastic company based on this valuation matrices itself, which gives an indication that it's having a strong competitive edge based on the gross profit margin, and it's creating value to the shareholder by having its ROC, return over equity and return on capital employed, significantly above 15% and 15% the cost of capital in our nation. So you can grow wealthier 15% year on year to the minimum by investing in Jubilant FoodWorks. So is it the right price to invest in Jubilant FoodWorks? Yes or no? So before I talk about the right price, there are different valuation methods which you can use to derive to the price to give you a sense of comfort before you put your capital into Jubilant FoodWorks. By spending time on the valuation method, you can keep your money more safer or more protected from dips, from further dips. When you see at the shareholder pattern, you can see that 1.66% of the ownership is actually pledged. Now it is very significantly less than 25%, which is a good sign anyway, and 1.66 is so minuscule that compared to its actual shareholding in the particular company is so significantly high. But nevertheless, we need to keep watching the pledged shares. Over the last quarter, it has actually released some pledged shares, which is 0.1%, I guess. You can have a look at the shareholding pattern, and it has reduced the pledged shares. So it gives me an indication that the management is taking efforts to reduce its pledging and also taking efforts to improve the network of quick service restaurants across the nation. And I'm sure this is one of the company which you can expect a 10x return in a 10-year period. That is my own opinion, and you can do your own analysis. And there may be some more dips in the particular company, but it could be around 380 or something like that. But nevertheless, this is my own decision, and you can follow your own investment valuation methods and own investing matrices to arrive to your own conclusion. This is my own personal advice, which I am doing for myself, and I wanted people who would like to gain from this particular video to understand what I am actually doing with respect to Jubilant FoodWorks. So if you have liked it, please like it, and don't forget to share and subscribe.